Hi everyone, it's Heidi. Please pardon how I'm sitting. I've been sitting in my chair all day and I'm just trying to be comfortable. But okay, so we're going to Europe this summer for the first time. I've never been out of the United States before. I'm a little bit nervous, but just mostly excited. But I had somebody in the community send me a video called Secrets of the Euro. They just said it was really interesting and that I should react to it. And I'm definitely fascinated because I don't know anything about it. So, let's see how this goes. If you guys like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for being part of this journey with me as I learn more about the world. But let's do this.
Prior to 2002, most European countries had their own independent currencies. France had the French franc. Italy...
The French franc! I feel like there should be a restaurant called the French franc. And they can sell French fries. That's so cheesy, but anyway, I like the French franc.
He had the Italian lira, and Finland had the Finnish marker, to name just a few. It made trade and travel a lot more complicated, as you needed to change your money for each different country, often incurring exchange rates, commissions and fees.
Yep.
What's more, there was often vast disparity between the values of each currency. Whilst the Italian lira banknote stretched all the way up to 500,000, the highest denomination French franc was only 500. So if you were visiting one from the other, it would be very difficult to gauge how much you were actually spending. In practice,
that's just the entire world still. I'm glad it sounds like they figured that out, but yeah, that is, that's always so confusing when I'm trying to figure out how much something is in someone else's currency. Is confusing to me, so.
Practice, it was a nightmare. The case for a shared common currency was therefore an obvious one, and it was an idea that had been talked about and was being worked towards for decades. Without getting into the precise history, the euro as we know it was first introduced for non-cash transactions on New Year's Day 1999, and then the first banknotes and coins on New Year's Day 2002. The only countries that did not adopt the currency were Denmark and the United Kingdom, although there are several other EU countries who don't yet meet the economic criteria, but will make the change once they do. And since those first banknotes were...
I wonder what the criteria is. Does anybody know what the criteria, like, where do you have to be or what do you have to do to, you know, use the euro? Obviously you have to be in the EU, duh. But, yeah, I wonder what the details are in that. That's kind of fascinating.
Launched in 2002, they've just finished releasing a new and updated series, which this video is going to take a look at. Now, I'm not going to get into any of the pros and cons of the currency, or any of the economic arguments or considerations. Instead, I'm going to approach the euro purely as a banknote collector, as someone who likes shiny and colourful objects with a cool story, not as a critic of the currency itself. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. Now normally I'd go through and talk about each banknote individually, but with the euro it makes much more sense to talk about them collectively. These new notes are known as the Europa series, and they are very much a series, with each denomination just a slight variant on the overall design. Like the previous series, the notes have retained their size, colour and the theme of European architecture. The front of each denomination displays a window or doorway to represent openness and cooperation, whilst the reverse depicts a bridge, symbolising communication. The 5 euro sees a classical architecture style, the 10 Romanesque, the 20 Gothic, the 50 Renaissance, the 100 Baroque, and the 200 a 19th century iron and glass theme. The old 500 note had the theme of modern 20th century architecture, although has been discontinued and is slowly being removed from circulation. Importantly though, none of the specific doorways, windows or bridges shown are real. They're fictional designs, intended to represent each of the original members but without unfairly representing one more than the other.
That's very interesting. Huh. Would it be that big of a deal to choose? I think it's really kind of funny how representation is looked at nowadays. I feel like it's very interesting that just because something isn't represented in a certain way or as often as, you know, people feel is important, like they see that as us not caring about that thing. I think it's very interesting. Like it would be nice if we could appreciate what we think is beautiful and focus on, what we're looking at rather than why isn't this thing here or why isn't this thing represented instead or as well, or it's very, very interesting. The high demands that there are with that kind of thing. So interesting that it's in the currency here too.
Also, like the previous series, the reverse of each note features a map of Europe, although this time including Malta and Cyprus, who have both since joined the Eurozone, as well as a tiny section right in the bottom left to show the Canary Islands and some of France's territories.
Nice.
But that's about it for the similarities. So what exactly has changed? Well, the denomination in the bottom left has been replaced by one in green colour changing ink, making it difficult to replicate. And on the 100 and 200 notes, it even contains tiny euro symbols. There's also
Smart.
a larger holographic strip on the right, this time containing an image of Europa, a figure from Greek mythology after whom the continent was named. Europa can also be seen in the watermark of each note,
Europa.
alongside the denomination and piece of architecture, although admittedly it does kind of resemble a kid's drawing. In terms of other security features...
Who was in charge of that image? Because what an insult. It looks like a kid's drawing. Okay, that was the one I was in charge of. Sorry. That's so funny.
Both series are fairly similar. Obviously, they all feature the Orion constellation, a group of 5 circles or donuts which can be detected by printers and computer software in order to prevent photocopying. This feature was included on banknotes in secret for many years, until a member of the public first detected it on a €10 note, hence the name and the fact that it sort of doesn't really resemble Orion. Under
Interesting. I think that the only reason why I know about Orion is because Orion is my parents' favorite constellation. Like they talk about Orion's belt and stuff like that. Anyway, so I'm proud of myself for knowing that because I am not a constellation person. I know Big Dipper, Little Dipper, and Orion.
light, certain elements of the notes glow to indicate their authenticity, including the stars in the flag and the stars around the architecture, as well as certain sections of the reverse. Tiny glowing flecks are also visible, something they purposely add into the paper, again to show their authenticity. But the new notes have added another really cool security feature in the form of these short diagonal lines on the edges of each note. If you fold the notes round to form a circle, they perfectly line up, indicating that the note is likely genuine, as counterfeiters can have difficulty being so precise with their printing. And these notes have introduced some microprint too, seen in the stars in the middle of the note. If you look extremely closely, you'll see the word Euro repeating in 3 different alphabets. Again, something that counterfeiters cannot achieve with inexpensive printers.
I would love to see a comparison between American money and like the euro because I feel like we have a few little security features on our bills, but man, this is a lot. I feel like it's just one after the other. It's like, okay, we have 30 different ways of making sure that it's real. No, we should probably add more. I mean, good for them. I think that's great. Like the more you can do to prevent fraud, awesome. Even though I do feel like most things are online now, so I don't know how long this is going to be relevant for, but hopefully for a long time. All I know is that I don't have, I don't use cash nearly as often as I used to.
And what is probably my favourite hidden feature? Each note is secretly a flag of Europe in disguise. How cool is that? However, having said all that, you'd be right to accuse these notes of being boring. They're deliberately plain and devoid of any personality. Europe is an exceptionally diverse continent with the finest architecture on the planet, and yet they've opted for fictional designs. But I do understand it. These banknotes are used by an ever-increasing number of countries, and they can't be seen to favour certain ones. And where the banknotes fall short, the coins certainly deliver.
Sorry. I just think it's so interesting. People just in general in society, governments, everybody has to be so careful to make sure we don't seem to be favoring one. Oh gosh, it's everywhere. It's so much. Anyway, and that's not anyway. That's another story. I just I think that that's kind of an interesting concept. I understand why people are sensitive to it, but man alive, I feel like it's gone a little too far.
Euro
Okay.
coins are arguably the coolest and most collectible in the world. Each country has their own designs, and they can therefore be much more personal. The Colosseum features on the Italian 5 cents, for example, and the Brandenburg Gate on the German 10. And even some countries that aren't EU members have their own coins, such as San Marino and Vatican City. In total,
So how is that not favoring? Hold on, let me watch this one more time.
countries, and they can't be seen to favour certain ones.
Okay.
And where the banknotes fall short, the coins certainly deliver. The Euro coins are arguably the coolest and most collectible in the world.
Why would it matter? Okay, I don't understand. Maybe they're working on changing the coins. I don't know. But I don't know. Why would they care so much about looking to not, favor certain countries or certain things on the bills, but on the coins, it's totally fine to have something representing a certain country or a certain area of the world. I don't get it. I feel like we pick our sensitivities sometimes. That's so funny to me. Right after I kind of went on a little rant about that, and then they're like, "Oh, the coins are fine though. The coins are whatever."
Each country has their own designs, and they can therefore be much more personal. The Colosseum features on the Italian 5 cents, for example.
Oh, wait a second. So the euro, the bills are for the entire EU, but the coins are only used in their specific countries. So basically we're saying that you're trying to make the money more universal when it comes to the EU, but the coins are still individual. So that's interesting. So they'd still have just a slight difference and a slight maybe problem with that, but I don't know. Maybe coins just nobody cares about anymore. So okay, I'm so sorry. I completely misunderstood that. I get it now.
And the Brandenburg Gate on the German 10. And even some countries that aren't EU members have their own coins, such as San Marino and Vatican City. In total, there are more than 300 different designs across the different values and countries, making them an absolute dream for collectors. They most certainly make up for the lack of variation on the banknotes. But if that's still not enough, there are some Euro banknotes that are decidedly more interesting. This is a €0, a souvenir note printed on real banknote paper, with real security features and authorised by the European Central Bank. It has a watermark, glows under UV light, and feels and looks exactly as you'd expect a real euro to. And whilst this one features the atomium in Brussels, like the coins, there are literally hundreds of different designs. So whilst the euros themselves might be slightly dull, that's necessary. They're the second most traded currency in the world, and represent such a vast population area. And though they might have sacrificed some infinitely more interesting notes in the process, we got some pretty cool coins out of it, and the euro has undoubtedly made life a lot easier.
Okay. That threw me off. That definitely threw me off. The idea of, making sure that we're not favoring one country or another. But then, I don't know, like, I don't know why it matters, I guess, for the euro. I don't understand why they made that a big deal or made that a thing to make sure to not represent certain countries or things like that. Maybe because they're making sure, or they've made sure that every country has their own. I mean, that's just confusing. Oh, I feel bad because I feel like 50 years ago that probably wouldn't have been a problem. I feel like it would have been fine to have the Eiffel Tower on one and no one would have thought much about, oh, the EU must favor France more than other countries. No, it's just they had to pick a pretty picture. I don't know. So it's kind of interesting to me. I feel like I see things like that more and more. I didn't expect to get out of this video, like, I didn't expect to apply it to just our social circumstances in the world right now. But that was very interesting to me. I didn't know that about the euro, obviously. I mean, I didn't really know much about it to begin with. So anyway, let me know what you think. You don't have to or you don't have to comment on the social aspect of it if you don't want to. Feel free to if you want, but let me know what you think about the video. If there was anything that wasn't accurate that you need to correct, please let me know. I like when you guys help me, if there's something not completely accurate, or if there's anything that I have said that you want to correct, please do that too. I'm just trying to learn here. So, but thank you so much for watching. Sorry that went into a little bit of a rant. Did not expect that, but I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!